The Hydromet Service Ministry of Agriculture says that the recent weather event in Region 10 is likely to occur sporadically over most of Guyana for the duration of the dry season, expected to last until November this year. On Friday last, residents of several communities in Linden suffered extensive damage to their homes after torrential rains, lightning, and powerful winds tore through their area, toppling trees and flooding streets. Many residents were left without a roof over their heads. The storm started just after 3 p.m. and lasted for just half an hour. Explaining the event, Hydromet's senior meteorologist, Lyndon Alves, said sudden thunderstorms characterized by intense rainfall and high winds are to be expected at this time of year, given the changing dynamic of climatic conditions.
Now, this time of the year, it's the dry season. However, during the dry season, we can still experience periods of very intense showers. One such incident occurred last week Friday in Linden, where persons lost parts of their homes. So I'm going to explain why it happened so that we'll have a better understanding, because in the media you will generally hear persons referring to squall lines and freak storms, and meteorologically freak storms don't really exist. It's just a name that we persons give to it. And then squall lines are not responsible. Something totally different is responsible, and we're gonna go through it briefly to find out how it is formed and why it occurs.
According to the meteorologist, temperature variances between land and water in relation to wind coming inland off the Atlantic and the different rates at which land and water heats up causes what is known as a pressure gradient.
Now, as the day begins to heat up and the land heats up faster than the water, that temperature difference is created. It creates what is known as a pressure gradient. So you have the wind that is coming off of the water, off of the Atlantic, brings a lot of moisture. Now, as that moisture gets onto land, these clouds here would begin to grow. That, in a nutshell, is what is known as the sea breeze effect, or a sea breeze front.
Mr. Alves explained that this is what was developing all day across coastal Guyana with the conditions for the creation of the thunderstorm, which hit later in the afternoon on Friday last. According to the Hydromet official, the high winds which caused much of the damage to homes in Linden is occasioned by what is referred to as a gust front, using a satellite recording that captured the developments of the conditions that led to the storm there. Mr. Alves explained further.
In addition to this area here, we notice that there's this kind of arc that is moving out from this area of thunderstorm. We're seeing it here, and we're also seeing it here. Now, this arc that you're seeing is called the gust front. Now, the gust front forms when the rain falls. It brings a lot of cool air with it. Now, that cool air begins to expand, and the boundary between that cool air and the warm, moist environmental air creates that effect that we call a gust front. Now, one of the characteristics of the gust front is that you have very, very high winds. Your winds could reach 35, 40 knots. When on a normal day, your winds would barely reach about 50 knots. With a gust front, your winds could reach 35, 40 knots, or even higher. It's very high winds for generally very short periods of times. It could last a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and it will just progress in all directions.
Mr. Alves disclosed that the conditions for weather events, as occurred in Linden Friday, can be expected to occur from time to time throughout the dry season, pointing to the formation of a similar weather front over Demerara's East Bank corridor at the time we recorded this interview.
The conditions that led to the houses in Linden losing the roofs, as I said before, it's very likely at this time of the year. So for the next few months, it's likely to occur. Now this is an image of what is going on right now, and we're seeing that line that I referred to early. It's forming, and along the line, look, you have an area here. This is to the north of Linden, or just to the east of Timir. You have another area of those clouds developing. So it's likely that before the end of today, along the east bank and parts of region 10 would experience some heavy rain and lightning and thunder.
I asked Mr. Alves about whether it was possible to forecast when and where these incidences would occur.
We know what are the conditions that are necessary to cause this to occur, but the problem is pinpointing exactly which area the clouds will develop into these huge thunderclouds. And this is something that happens quite frequent during this time of the year, and it is expected to continue. It does not happen every day, but it can happen quite often.
The Hydromet service is currently putting in place the capacity to offer up-to-the-minute geographic weather forecasts that will be more specific as to be able to offer early warnings for expected weather events such as what hit Linden Friday. The new alert system is the Common Alerting Protocols, or CAP, and would allow Hydromet to make public alerts in a timely manner in advance of the event, utilizing all media available to it. This CAP facility should be ready for launch in just a few months. Members of the public are reminded that they can visit the Hydromet website at www.hydromet.gov.gy for up-to-date forecasts, as well as other weather-related data 24/7.